2023 was an absurd year for gaming, and I use that term for how awesome it was with crazy shit and how it also had some of the worst games I've ever seen. But we're here to spread positivity, so let's talk about my personal favorites I played within this year. We have to start off with Hi-Fi Rush. It didn't reinvent the wheel, but what it did do was be absolutely perfect in nearly every aspect. I love music, and if you love music, it's easy to fall in love with how the game uses it as a mechanic. Whatever the rhythm or beat is affects how you combo and how the enemies will telegraph their attack. You really have to feel the music, which isn't hard to do. Now, the story ain't something that's grand. It's a very simple story, but it works for what it is and was memorable enough for me to be captivated, especially for the characters. It's a must-play game in a time where games feel very samey. I just finished playing Yakuza Like a Dragon, and I was honestly blown away. I played Kiwami 1 and Kiwami 2, did about half of 3, but I never bothered to play any of the other Yakuza games. As much as I wanted to, 3 felt a bit aged and was difficult for me to find fun in finishing it. So I just kinda skimmed the story online and understand it well enough. As far as I know, Like a Dragon can be played without any previous context. Sure, there's some stuff like Kiryu's situation and some character reappearances, but since the story now follows Ichiban Kasuga, it's a new slate. My biggest worry was the turn-based combat. Going from a beat-em-up brawler to an RPG felt nearly impossible. Yet, it somehow works well enough. It's mainly the funny and cool animations played when using abilities, and how most of them require a button press to keep you involved in the gameplay. Sometimes it can get annoying, but despite all of that, it's extremely fun when it works. The story itself too, man, I have no words. I could not wait to advance the story at any point. That when I had to fight Majima and Saejima, I actually had to reset a bit to grind first before fighting them again. They are the perfect characters to have a difficulty spike, and I don't think anyone would complain. Like a Dragon was so good, I actually cannot wait for Infinite Wealth. Let's stay on Yakuza in a game that actually released this year, Like a Dragon Gaiden. It follows Kiryu's side of the story after the events of 6, small portions during Like a Dragon, and a small part after the events of it. It brings the brawler gameplay back, adding a new agent style to Kiryu's repertoire. Honestly, I found myself using the Yakuza style more for tougher fights, but the agent style was still fun to use. Gliding around the battlefield, throwing cigarette bombs, and summoning drones. It's not the most effective, but the game makes it feel very satisfying. Now, it is a much shorter game, no surprise, but I always find it impressive just how much story and content that can be put into one singular town. 90% of the game takes place in Sotenbori, and it somehow just works. Now, the story, yet again, is a masterpiece. The Omi and Toji chairmen are seeking to announce the disbandment of their clans, and Kiryu somehow gets involved. You continue to see just how ruthless some Yakuza members can be. Nishitani is just a grade A asshole and psycho, but ultimately it becomes Shishido who I ended up hating the most. He's fucking cold-blooded, and I hated him in his first appearance. But as you talk to him more, you feel like he's not really all that bad. He became who he is because of the environment. Just when you think he's a decent guy to have around, he hits you with a betrayal to Masaru Watase, where he reveals that he's just like every guy in the Yakuza, wanting to rise to the top no matter what. No matter how much he suffered from the hands of Nishitani, what keeps Shishido going is the very same reason why he got into a fucked up situation. He doesn't care about doing the greater good, only caring about his personal gains. 5 stars. I am a gamer, to the utmost degree. Though I am a gamer, some games I may not agree on. These yearly releases and overhyped games are turnoffs to me, but one stood out, and that was Baldur's Gate 3. I didn't expect to love it as much as I did because of how different it is to previous games I have played. Sure, it's a turn-based RPG, but there's damage rolls, accuracy rolls, and so forth. Some battles could take days. The cast of characters are awesome. Some are kinda bland. Shadowheart was my favorite. Will and Asterion I'd leave in the sand. I still have yet to beat the game. It is long as fuck. I want to finish it and play even more, cause the game does not suck. It's so thrilling, enthralling, everything that ends with ing. It's fun to play with people as well. It's a game that's not boring. Resident Evil 4 is considered to be great by many, but I have never played it. Never got the chance to as a kid and didn't really know if it was worth getting the ports to the PC and such. But the remake is damn good. Countering attacks feels so satisfying, being able to retaliate with a melee attack makes combat feel flashy, the weapons are all fun to use as well. It's a game that just keeps on going and going and doesn't stop how good it gets. It's not as scary as the RE2 remake, but RE4 really wasn't meant to be super scary. It has its jump scare moments, but ultimately it's just a kick-ass good time of whooping the infected villagers and other creatures. It's a decently short-paced game that kinda incentivizes you to speedrun it to reap rewards upon completion. The DLC for Ada was extremely fun, and her section was a bit more scary. Personally, it'd be my game of the year pick because of how much I was into it and reigniting my love for Resident Evil. Pokemon Showdown. It's a dope battle simulator for competitive Pokemon battles. Fuck all the catching, training, and perfect breeding nonsense. Just pick a Pokemon, their abilities, moves, and change their EVs and IVs however you like, and then battle it out. Showdown has its own tiering system for singles from Smogon, which goes from Ubers, the strongest of the strong, which typically contains legendaries or just super strong regular Pokemon like this guy. OU, which is the standard metagame, UU, which are the mons that are strong but just not strong enough, and it goes on further with RU, NU, PU, and ZU, but they aren't the most relevant, at least to me. Why Showdown is one of my favorite games is because I love Pokemon battling, but I don't really like the insane amount of work that needs to go into perfecting a Pokemon's EVs, changing their abilities, getting the perfect moves, and yeah, I just want to battle it out with some of my favorite Pokemon and have a good time. The singles metagame for Gen 9 has been really fun for me to play. Iron Valiant is usually a staple on my team because of how many times it has bailed me out. Okay, so I just started playing the meta as all the new Pokemon released, and I think one of my favorites right now is honestly Hydrapple. As fun as singles is, I enjoy the official format more, which is VGC. It's double battles, 4v4, choosing 4 out of the 6 you bring. It's a bigger mind game, and different Pokemon function better in singles than in doubles, as well as certain moves or abilities. Pokemon Showdown is a bit more on the niche side of gaming, but I implore everybody who loves Pokemon, or just loves competitive games in general, to give it a try. This is a bit of recency bias, but Fortnite has been incredibly fun to play. With the new season out, introducing Peter Griffin got me back into the mix. And not just that, but the slew of custom content Fortnite now has is absurd. It's literally a better Roblox. Fortnite's new game modes of LEGO Fortnite, which is pretty much just Minecraft, but it has its own charm, as well as the festival mode, which is just like Rock Band, made me realize that Fortnite no longer has to stick to just Battle Royale to continue to be the powerhouse it is, with games continuously feeling stale to me like Valorant and League of Legends.
What the fuck? Why did you go over the wall?
Having.
Oh my god.
Bro, I literally was taking ground. I literally took ground and I clicked up here.
Sorry. Just go bot.
Fortnite continues to innovate for newer players and even bringing back older players. I remember when Zero Build first released, a few of my cousins and I went straight back to playing because while building is Fortnite's identity, it's a big skill gap when you all can't keep up, and it can be annoying sometimes when the enemies build insanely fast. Zero Build's player count is not even that much lower than regular Fortnite, which goes to show just how great of an idea it is to keep it around. Tears of the Kingdom. Holy fucking shit, this game is a masterpiece upon masterpieces. I get the dislike towards how characters interact with Link and acting like they don't know him, but despite that, the game improves on so many aspects from Breath of the Wild. What's cool is you actually get to keep your horses from Breath of the Wild, because I know I was sweating balls having to try to think of finding another horse to use. The depths is the most important part of the game, when I originally thought would be the Sky Islands. Both are phenomenal, but the depths are just so much better because of how much more you can explore, having tougher enemies and bosses to fight. More importantly, how fucking scary it is to traverse the Darkened Land. I love everything about Tears of the Kingdom, and beautiful doesn't begin to describe the perfection of how it's presented and how great the story wraps up.